Wonderful experience when I was living in Boston, Massachusetts. I worked for the Boston Globe newspaper, and it was at the very first Black History Month. I think prior to that it had been Black History Week or Day or what have you. And I was sent to meet the famous singer Marian Anderson. And it was just an incredible sort of linkage to the past. I had always known and admired Marian Anderson for her artistry, but to meet someone of that stature who was so intricately part of Black African-American history in this country was just phenomenal. So I always will remember that and hold it in my heart.
First thing that comes to mind is the enormous change I've seen in my lifetime in race relations in the South. We're from Texas originally. I'm from a small town south of Dallas. My wife is from Houston, but when we graduated high school in '64, the schools were still segregated. Enormous change in 1 or 2 generations.
Black history, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, all the thousands and thousands of people who worked for civil rights and protested. Done marches and beat up for their beliefs, what they should, their rights.
Black History Month, when I think of, just the many wonderful things that we as African Americans have accomplished in history, and just to know that we have such a rich history, is that just to celebrate that, I think is wonderful and excellent.
Well, because I'm of an age that I remember Jim Crow South, and I had traveled through Jim Crow South, a lot of that comes back to me, what that felt like to be, 13 years old, drive through northern Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and see the separate bathrooms, water fountains, and in fact, I felt so bad as a white person that I only would go in the, what they called colored bathroom, which were a lot not nearly as nice as white bathrooms.
The first thing that comes to mind is it gives us an opportunity to go back and research our history, find out the roots from where we came. If we take time to not only deal with just what happened in America's Black history, but also prior to America, what our history is. So it gives us the opportunity to explore a lot of things as far as our history and our culture.
Everybody brings about change in small incremental ways, and so my grandfather, he wrote letters to the president when he was younger about how the country clubs were segregated in Mississippi, and he got letters back, and whether or not that resulted in change, I don't know, but I think everybody trying to engage and promote awareness and create small changes results in bigger changes.
Well, because of the work that I've done in the San Francisco Bay Area and my whole life around human rights and civil rights, I was honored with the Martin Luther King Humanitarian Award, which is an incredible honor and a privilege, and it was a large dinner, and it really was about my work advocating for equal rights, civil rights, not just for African Americans, but for all people.
grandmother, one of the things that I used to do, she passed away actually today, last year, February 2nd. So I used to record. She's old school Virginia. She was 87, and she used to just tell me about her grandmother and how they used to be out picking cotton and in the fields. And I used to record what she told me. Like I used to just sit down with her for like an hour and on my phone and just record it, so I have that as a memory. And in terms of like historical things, not that I know of right now, but I mean they were black business owners. You know what I mean? Like barber shops and beauty shops. They had stores. They had actually shops in Baltimore and in Chicago. So they were black. They were business owners, which I guess is history.
By standing up for what they believe in and not being afraid of any fears of what other people may think of their stance and their belief.
Well, I think people can affect change, first of all, by knowledge. You have to be knowledgeable before you can really embrace change. And then you have to collaborate with other people. And also, I think, to recognize that, none of us are alone and we're not an island, and that you have to join hands with other people, other groups, other minorities in order to affect change.